EMbers, welcome back to the channel. Now you might notice I'm in the same clothes. I don't wear the same clothes all the time, I am pre-recording. For today's video I thought I would do a questions type video, and I found this online on levelskip.com, and this is 50 fun questions about video games to ask your friends. Now, clearly I'm not asking my friends, I'm asking myself, but I thought it would be quite a cute tag video to do here. So of course I will link this in the description bar below if you would like to have a go at answering the questions yourself. I haven't looked at the questions beforehand, so hopefully I do have answers. I maybe should have rehearsed, but I didn't. So question 1 is, what is your favourite game of all time? Now, I've said it on this channel multiple times, but it is Draken the Ancient Gates. Question 2. What's a game you thought you'd like but actually hated? I'm not sure I've ever played a game that I've hated, to be honest with you. I recently spoke about it in May's wrap-up video, but I downloaded from the Xbox Game Pass Potioncraft, the alchemist simulator, and I didn't get on with it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't get on with it, so I guess we'll put that there for now. Question 3. What's a really popular game everyone seems to love but you don't like? Again, this is a difficult question because I don't tend to play games, for the most part, unless I have an expectation that I'm going to like them. So, a really popular game everyone seems to love but you don't like. I think the closest, and again I don't hate it, but probably Crash Bandicoot, because I was always a Spyro girl, so I didn't get on with Crash Bandicoot really, and I still don't. So I would say that could fit here, but I don't hate the game by any stretch. Question 4. What's a game you didn't expect to enjoy but ended up liking? I would say for this one, Breath of the Wild, Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, because the Zelda franchise is fantastic, but it took me a long time to actually like the franchise and enjoy the franchise. I'd played some of the older games, but I'd played them obviously later on, so I didn't really get on with them too much. So with Breath of the Wild, I thought it looked like a really good game, but it was a Zelda game, so I thought, maybe not. I mean, I really enjoyed Twilight Princess, but I didn't know if I was going to enjoy Breath of the Wild as much as I did, and I ended up just absolutely loving that game. Question 5. What game have you spent the most number of hours on? That's tough, because I've literally been playing games since I was a kid, literally a kid, so I wouldn't be able to have a guess at how many hours I've actually spent playing video games, never mind a specific one. Question 6. If you had to marry the last video game character you played, who would it be? Well, it would technically be myself, because I've been playing sort of a version of myself on Hogwarts Legacy. So I guess I'd have to marry myself if it was the last character I played. Question 7. If you had to live in the world of the last game you played, what world would it be? Again, the last game I played was Hogwarts Legacy, so it would be Hogwarts, Hogsmeade, that world, the Wizarding World. Question 8. Have you ever had a crush on a video game character? I absolutely have, yes. So when I was younger, me and Mum used to play a lot of RPGs, and the strong female characters in RPGs, Lara Croft, Rin, oh yeah, I absolutely had a crush on them. Question 9. What was the first game you ever remember playing? I'm not entirely sure. If you're talking about watching, because like I say, I used to watch my mum play video games, then Harvest Moon Back to Nature is one that I remember from being very, very young. Probably Spyro 2, Gateway to Glimmer. The first game I ever played on my own, I honestly couldn't tell you. Question 10. Have you ever pretended to be sick to get out of something so you could play a game? I actually haven't, but that sounds like a really good idea. Question 11. What game did you last complete? Rise of the Tomb Raider was the last game I finished. Question 12. What game are you playing right now? Hogwarts Legacy. Question 13. What game do you want to play next? The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. As of time of recording, I have Tears of the Kingdom, but I haven't started it yet, because Hogwarts Legacy and Tears of the Kingdom came out in the same month. Figures. Question 14. In your opinion, what's the best games console? The PlayStation 2. Question 15. Are PC gamers really superior to console players? No, I don't think any gamer is superior, regardless of what platform you choose to play on. I think PC gamers have the advantage for certain things when it comes to mods, custom content, that kind of thing. They definitely have the advantage there. Also, streaming is a lot easier on a PC versus a console. So there are advantages to being a PC player, absolutely, but I don't think anyone's superior to each other, no. Question 16. What's your opinion on Fortnite? I don't know enough about Fortnite, to be honest. Of course, I've not been living under a rock. I know what Fortnite is. Never played it. Not really had much of an interest, to be honest. Question 17. Have you ever watched a Twitch stream? Technically. So I don't have Twitch. I have watched Twitch streams that have been ported to YouTube after the fact. Question 18. Have you ever streamed yourself on Twitch or YouTube? No to Twitch. Kind of yes to YouTube. I've done live videos here on YouTube on my other channel, but I've not streamed a game yet, and that is something that is on my bucket list for this channel. I want to start doing Let's Plays, so hopefully that is coming very, very soon. Question 19. Have you ever used a walkthrough? I absolutely have. There are games that I just got so frustrated. I try not to. I try to do the game as best I can, but there does come a point where you just get stuck and you have to look at that walkthrough. Question 20. What's the best weapon you've ever used in a game? I'm not entirely sure, but I am almost always an archer. Any game that there's archery, Sneak Archer is one of the most overdone builds in RPGs, and it's me. Yeah, I am. I love archery. Question 21. Have you ever had to stop playing a game because it was too scary? Absolutely. The original Resident Evils, when I was young, I was probably playing them or watching them being played far too young, and they absolutely terrified me. Question 22. Has a game's storyline ever made you cry? All the time. All the time. I am such an emotional person. I can't watch like a Disney movie without crying my eyes out. I can't watch a TV show without crying my eyes out. I cry at almost everything. So yes, I have definitely cried at a video game. 23. What's your favourite fighting class? Warrior, mage or rogue, and why? Probably rogue here. Like I say, sneak archer, stealth archer. I love stealth in any of its forms in games. I do like playing mages as well, to be fair, but I would play all of these classes quite easily, but I think rogue is probably my favourite. Question 24. What is your favourite game genre? RPGs. Question 25. Do you prefer multiplayer games or to go solo? Solo. So I am not an MMO fan. I have played a few MMORPGs, and it's just not my thing. I am definitely a solo player, but I do love couch co-op, and I've said this in a few videos on this channel. Where's couch co-op gone? Question 26. Do you prefer co-op or player versus player? For couch co-op, I'd say I could easily do both, to be honest. 27. What is the first console you ever owned? I'm not sure what the first console I personally ever owned is. The first console I ever remember playing was my mum's PlayStation 1. The first console I ever owned would probably be one of the handhelds, was the first one I ever had for myself. So Game Boy Advance, I think, might have been my first ever console. Question 28. What or who got you into video games in the first place? My mum got me into video games. 29. What is the longest amount of time you've sat playing games non-stop? I can't answer this, to be honest. I remember putting The Sims 4 on and starting at 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and I remember finishing at 3 o'clock in the morning. So that's probably one of the longest sessions I can remember having, but I am not a sessions game player by any stretch. You know, there are people who are in tournaments, there are people who have the record for the longest they've ever played a game. I'm not that person, so I wouldn't really know the longest I've played a game for. Question 30. If video games didn't exist anymore, what would you do? So I'd be very sad, but I do have other interests. I love to read, I love to watch TV shows, I sing, I'm a singer, so music. I have a wide array of interests. Question 31. What is your favourite song from a game? That's tough, because I think RPGs have the best soundtracks of all time. I genuinely do, particularly PlayStation 2 RPGs. The soundtracks are just incredible. So if I could cheat and say the soundtrack for Drac and the Ancient's Gates, the soundtrack for Ark the Lad Twilight the Spirit, the soundtrack for Dark Cloud, Shadow Hearts, that is such a cheat because it asked for one song, but I am going to cheat and say any PlayStation 2 RPG soundtrack. Question 32. Have you ever wanted to live in a world from a game? If so, which one and why? All the time. Don't we all want to live in a fantasy world? I know I do. Which one and why? There's way more than one. So the first one that came to mind was Tamriel from The Elder Scrolls, Sedana in Draken. It's easier to say which video game worlds I don't want to live in than I do, because I would just love the chance to live in a fantasy world. The sun has come glaring through all of a sudden, so I'm so sorry for the glare there. Question 33. Which video game character do you most wish you were like? Rin from Draken or Lara Croft? Of course, who doesn't want to be Lara Croft? Question 34. What's a game you've spent the most amount of money on? Okay, so I believe it is Shadow Hearts Covenant on the PlayStation 2. And that's physical games, by the way. If it's talking about what's a game you've spent the most money on with DLC, that would probably be The Sims 4. Question 35. If you could have one power of any video game character, who would it be? That's such a difficult question. One power of any video game character. I mean, Hogwarts Legacy springs to mind again because I am currently playing it, so it's fresh in the head. That the character, this is not going to be spoilers if you haven't played the game, don't worry, because this is on all the trailers and everything. Your character can see traces of ancient magic, and I think that's a pretty fascinating angle to explore. So I'd say that purely because it's fresh in my mind, but I'm sure that I will think of something after this video and think that's the one. Question 36. Who do you usually choose as your fighter in Super Smash Bros, Soul Calibur, Street Fighter, etc.? I haven't played a fighting game in a long time, to be honest with you, so I cannot answer that question. Question 37. Xbox or PlayStation? Here we go. So overall, PlayStation. But Xbox Game Pass on the Xbox One has been an absolute godsend. I have loved Game Pass. But overall, even though I've played the Xbox One way more this year, PlayStation. Question 38. What are you hoping for at the next E3? Okay, so I am pre-recording this in advance, so I'll be honest with you, I don't know if E3 has happened yet, because it is in May. I want to see Tomb Raider. Obviously the reboot series, you've got Tomb Raider, Rise and Shadow. I want to see the fourth game. That's what I want to see at E3. Question 39. Who is your favourite villain from a video game and why? Again, such a tough question there. Really tough. I can't think off the top of my head, to be honest with you. But there's some incredible video game villains. I told you I should have rehearsed this and put some answers down, but I didn't. Question 40. What is your favourite game from your childhood? So many, but the first one that popped into my head was Harvest Moon Back to Nature. Question 41. Are there any games you're really bad at? Absolutely. I am not the best gamer in the world by any stretch. I enjoy playing games, but I'm not a competitive gamer. So, something like I said earlier, Crash Bandicoot, I'm terrible at them. Platformers, I'm not very good. Question 42. Have you ever seen somebody get really angry when they lose? I mean, not really. Frustrated. I mean, I get frustrated when I lose, and my mum got frustrated when she loses games. So, frustrated. But no, not flinging a remote across the room or anything like that. Question 43. What is your favourite game series of all time? This changes every time I'm asked. I'm going to pick 3 because I just am. Elder Scrolls franchise, the Fable franchise, and the Tomb Raider franchise. Question 44. What's more important, action or story? Story. I love world building. I love a good story. The game obviously has to play right, but I'm not a graphics snob or anything like that. I love old graphics anyway. For me, a story. It's why I love RPGs. A story is where it's at. Question 45. Is there a game that is considered to be really bad, but is your secret guilty pleasure? I think the only thing I can answer here is potentially, and I don't think it's a bad game, by the way. Well, that's the point. Maybe Escape from Monkey Island here is a guilty pleasure of mine because it's not a really bad game. I'm not sure many people consider it to be a really bad game, but most people don't think it's the best in the Monkey Island series. Question 46. If you could have any video game character as your best friend, who would it be? There's so many. I used to imagine that Paulette from Ark the Lad Twilight of the Spirits was my best friend. I remember that from a kid. But I used to make up stories, again, RPG and other things. I used to make up stories of characters and I used to insert myself into those stories. So really anyone could go here. 47. If you could marry any game character, who would it be? I'm going to say Lara Croft again. Why not? Who wouldn't want to marry her? Question 48. Would you rather have loads of time to play games, but only be able to buy 2 games a year, or be able to buy loads of games but never have much time to play them? Okay, this is a tough question because I am a gamer and a collector. So on the one side, I would love to be able to buy loads of games but never have time to play them for the collection. On the other side, I have dealt with this issue this year where I have bought too many games and don't have time to play them. So because of the dilemmas I'm in at the moment, I'm going to say loads of time to play games but only buy 2 a year. Question 49. In your opinion, what is the worst game of all time that you've played? Again, I don't think I've played many terrible games. I've played bad games. I don't think I've played terrible games. But off the top of my head, I have no idea. I'm sure I'll have an answer for this. If I think of answers that I didn't think of by the time of this video, then I'll pop them in the comments below. Question 50. Would you give up video games for life and receive $500,000 in cash? I'm going to change that to pounds. Or would you refuse the money? £500,000 is a lot of bloody money. But I think I'd refuse it. I don't know. Oh, I don't know. But I love video games. I do love gaming. You answer that one. Would you give up video games for life for 500,000? Or would you refuse the money? Answer that one, because I can't. But that is it. The 50 gaming questions. Again, I will pop the link in the description if you want to have a go at doing this yourself. I hope this hasn't run too long. As of recording, it's 22 minutes long, so I definitely need to edit this. But thank you very much for watching, and until next time, bye EMbers.